Hello, Jamie Andreas from GuitarPrinciples.com here, and I'm here to tell you about two really bad habits that every guitar player gets right in the beginning of their guitar journey. And I actually call these the two diseases of the left hand because that's what they're like. And if you have these, if you contract these two diseases, and you will, because every new guitar player does, and you don't figure out how to get rid of them, they will cripple your playing maybe for the rest of your life. I see it all the time. So I'm going to tell you about these two diseases and how you can avoid them, okay? And you should check yourself to see if you have these diseases. Now, the two diseases are finger squeeze and finger rise. Finger squeeze means that when you go to play something, like maybe you're one of those very unfortunate students who had a teacher that gave you a chromatic scale to practice when you started out. Nobody can do that without putting a lot of bad habits into the fingers. Here's what will happen to somebody when they start to do a chromatic scale, especially at the first fret, because that's the hardest place to play. No beginner should start there. You should start up here to keep the tension out of the fingers and going into muscle memory. But anyway, so you'll put your finger down, and then all the other fingers will just crowd over like this. And then you put another one down, and so you have to try to pry your fingers apart, one from the other, to get them to function. So it might happen when you try to do a C chord. A teacher might give you a C chord, it goes like this, but you'll put this finger down, and then all your other fingers will squeeze over, and then your hand's already tense, your shoulders tense, everything's tense, and you're pulling them away, and then your whole body tenses up. And of course, because of muscle memory, all that tension is remembered. If you don't start practicing in a way where you don't have that tension, you'll never be as good as you can be. So that is finger squeeze. The idea of one finger tensing up when another one plays is what I call, in my method, sympathetic tension. The tension of one muscle goes into other muscles in the hand. And you need to learn how to practice in a way that doesn't allow that tension to develop. So finger squeeze is the first disease, and then finger rise is the second. So finger rise is maybe a teacher gives you like a C scale, and you play the note. Of course, you'll probably get the squeeze there, but with the pinky. But then, like when you let that finger go and it goes up in the air, and then fingers are just rising like this. Or maybe you're doing a major scale, and your fingers go up like that, okay? Far from the strings, which is where we need them. So finger rise and finger squeeze, two examples of how sympathetic tension affects the left hand. It must be prevented. Now, in my method, which does prevent these diseases from getting into your hand in the beginning, my method is called the Principles of Correct Practice for Guitar. What we do is we first learn how to properly touch the guitar string. So we learn how to touch the strings lightly with no pressure, and how to move, how to curl the fingers and separate them. You can go a long way to achieving this just by doing a little exercise where you just hold your fingers out like this and bring them lightly down to touch the string like this, and then move across very slowly with your fingers very light. You want to keep them spread apart, and you want to keep them curled. Do this before you put the fingers down, because it's called a tight curl. So you get used to curling at all the joints, and then you touch very lightly. And you just practice touching very lightly. You can do different finger combinations like 1 and 4. Watch the other fingers. Do they start to go up like this? Do they start to squeeze over like this when you put one down? When you put the first finger down, do the other finger squeeze over? You don't want that to happen. So just practice going across lightly with fingers 1 and 4. Then practice going across lightly with 1 and 3. And then 1 and 2. And that'll be the beginning That's like the beginning point of the methods I use that are in my book, The Principles of Correct Practice for Guitar. But you could start off with that and see how that feels, and if you want to get deeper into it, you can check out my book, or you can download this free little report I have called How to Touch a Guitar String, because that is really the thing that all professionals finally figure out, or you would never become a professional. Is that exactly how should your fingers be touching that strings? What should your arm be doing when your finger touches the string? What should the rest of your body be doing when the finger touches the string? That's the secret of great playing. Okay, so there's some information for you to make your guitar journey lead you to the place you really want to go. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share it. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments below. Okay, happy practicing.